Brandon, what are we going to talk about today on this program? We've got a lot of progress going on, and where do you want to start?
Let's start with EQT, Judge.
EQT is, of course, Old Electable Gas Company, and Electable is locating their regional offices here in Pike County and over on 119 at Scott Fork. And once they complete their building, which will be approximately $13 million, then they're obligated on what they signed with the state of Kentucky, that once they get 100 jobs at $55,000 per job, then they get the total tax break that they get of $2.5 million. So this is good paying jobs. It meets our goal to look for businesses around energy. And you know, in Pike County, Kentucky, we produce more natural gas than all the counties in the Commonwealth. We produce 53% of the natural gas in Kentucky. So we are been able to attract this fine company, third largest producer of natural gas in the United States. And Pike County has 6,500 natural gas wells in Pike County producing today, 6,500 plus. So good news. Next Monday of next week I better give the date, that would be May the 9th. They're moving into the site. They have a contractor, EQT does. They've hired a contractor who the county had over there preparing the site for them. And they've hired that one to dig their foundation. Means that this contractor, that they bid it out, put proposals out, they picked the contractor, and they're ready to start to work. So that'll be next week. That is great news for the people of Eastern Kentucky and Pike County.
Judge, now I'm going to go to something that I believe you've been working on since the 70s. It's now going to happen as the access road at Fishtrap.
United States government built Fishtrap Reservoir. It opened in, I think, 1998. Lyndon Johnson, the president, opened this at the dedication ceremonies of the Fishtrap Lake. What the federal government did was a shame. They left people isolated and didn't build the roads to either state standard or federal standards, and they left people isolated down in those valleys. We did a study many years ago that showed the absenteeism from our schools in the county was higher in Harrican Creek, Johnican Creek, and Upper Pompey of anywhere in the county. Those people have to drive 42 miles to get to the doctors or to the hospital or to the food stores in this area of the county. So we have been to Washington. We've been everywhere. We talked to every governor, and we have worked on this hard. The community up there of Lower Pompey, and Jonah Thacker, who represented the community. We have had with Magistrate Leo Murphy, Representative Hall. We have made trips to Frankfurt. We've done everything over the years, but we have good news again. The fiscal court at the recent meeting authorized me to sign the documents to start construction on this road, and we have been informed by the governor of the Commonwealth that we're going to be funded for that road. Building a section of the road, which will be about less than 2 miles, will save these people 42 miles of driving to come to the county seat of Pikeville. And these people deserve that, and they need an outlet. This comes around the lake, around the same area where the marine is, where all the boats are, and then up and over and then out down to Pikeville. So that is, we have a meeting set up the next, I think it's later this week, with the Kentucky Department of Transportation. And we have the Corps of Engineers at Huntington. We never could get permission of the Corps to build a road, and they've been vast amount of money spent by the state in the past trying to get the Corps of Engineers to let's build a road through the Fishtrap Reservoir. This is the first time that they have been receptive to a proposal, and Representative Hall and others have worked so hard with the Huntington Corps, and also the Louisville Corps was involved, but the the Corps of Engineers Huntington has to make this decision. So looks like we're going to be able to get a road, and we'll hope we can let a contract on it this construction year, this summer, on the access road at the Fishtrap Reservoir, something that we've been working for since the late 90s. And it's something that we need to correct this. The federal government needs to correct it. They've left these people isolated in this section of Pike County for far too long. They had a choice. They should have bought them out, because the roads are too steep to get out of those valleys up there in certain times of year. But this is the next, since they're not going to buy them, this access road will give those people access to the things that they need to live, which is groceries and which is medical needs, and school children will have better access out. And so that is great news for us, and that's going to be forthcoming in the near future.
Well, speaking of construction, I know the county just broke ground on the Belfry Fire Department #2 over at South Williamson.
That's something that we worked for when we had the flood in 2009 and Belfry got flooded. The back part of their fire station at Belfry got flooded, and they had to move their equipment out, and they really had nowhere to put it. But that's when we put it back on the front burner. We started looking for funding. For us to look for funding, we have to look for coal severance tax, and coal severance tax through Senator Jones and Representative Leslie Combs and Representative Hall. So we, of course, started looking for funding to build a new station. Then we had, and this has been an ongoing thing for a number of years, even before I got here. They had been looking for locations for a fire station over there. But the Corps of Engineers, again, we were talking about the Corps previously, they had a piece of property over there when they had the Tug Fork River work to stop flooding and raise the homes up above the floodplain. They had an office there, and they purchased this property right next to the bridge going over into the city of Williamson, West Virginia. So we had tried under the previous governor and his Secretary of Transportation, Nybert, and we had been down and met with Nybert and said, Mr. Secretary, talk to we want to build. The Corps gave the property to the state, and we need that property for a fire station. So they got their legal people, and they said, no, we can't let you have it. So then you had a change of administration. And then they started working on the new administration and said, you need to figure out a way. There's always a way. There's always a way that you can make something happen. So we said, and it's everybody, and this is one everybody, you get things done when nobody says I. It takes everybody to get something done. So then we start working on Secretary Joe Prather. Joe Prather couldn't find a way. Then we got a new secretary. So quick as he got down there, Representative Hall set the meeting up, and down everybody goes, and they start seeking a way again. Third attempt. Believe it or not, they figured a way out. They could issue us a permit to build on this public property, and they are an existing building the Corps had on there that the state was using for their signal storage area and an archives building for some of their old records. So we're not bothering that building. That lot is big enough that we can put this facility on it and not bother the building. So then they issued us a permit. The legislature then had meet. The severance tax money was put in $100,000 each year for 2 years biennium budget, and then we're going to get a modern fire station at Belfry, and that's something that the county has really worked on. We have 600 certified firemen in the county, 600. And it brings lower insurance. The class has come down, people in many areas, and their insurance, of course, is cheaper too. But these volunteers are volunteers. We buy their insurance. We help them with their gas money. We do all those things to keep them viable. But it was a great day when we had that groundbreaking, and we had the Magistrate Harris was there, Senator Jones, and Representative Hall, and the most important ones was all those volunteer firemen from Belfry and the community there that that came out. This is, we have some, I believe, 27 fire stations and about 4 branch fire stations out in the county. So, and matter of fact, when I came in office in 1970, you had Pikeville and Elkhorn City fire stations, and we started a program my administration did at that time, and we purchased 10 trucks at one time and then 2 more fire trucks. We purchased the first one to get the fire station started. And the Belfry fire station, I think, the one at Robinson Creek was first. I think the Belfry station was second. But you didn't have fire protection in Pike County in the 70s, and it's come up to one of the best fire systems in this Commonwealth right here in Pike County, and the best trained firemen. All of them are certified to 600 volunteers.
Judge, something that's on the different end of the spectrum, but equally as important, is the around 130 structures in the county have been torn down under the Pike County nuisance ordinance.
Pike County is a beautiful county. The beautiful mountains, the settings are great. The communities are really something, but they're blight out in this county. They are dilapidated homes where people had to out-migrate out of Pike County over the years, back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and go up north to Ohio or Michigan at that time to find jobs. Many people didn't come back. Many people didn't have family here that stayed. Example, in the 70s during the coal boom, the population of this county got up nearly 90,000 because everybody come home to get rich. But then when the coal boom's not here, then the population goes back down into the 60s. So that's really where we stand today. But they have all of these houses, and so this last time that I was a candidate, that's one of the things that I said that we was going to do, that we was going to clean up this county, and the dilapidated houses had to go. This physical court, being a progressive physical court, a governmental body, the legislative body that we have, and they jumped right quick into it because they realized in their communities what they had. So we started this program. It's been very successful. It's got all of those dilapidated, blighted houses out of these communities. We got the National Association of Counties to assist us. We got the Kentucky Association of Counties to assist us. And we got ordinances from 4 states and from 3 counties in Kentucky, and then had the county attorney's office to prepare us our ordinance to make it work. And it's been great. And I know that in April that I attended 3, I viewed 3. One, if I remember, was over on Town Mountain. One was on Big Creek, and one was Blue Pond, Blue Elkhorn City at Belcher or in that area on Highway 460. So this is a great program. It's what the physical court did. They hired a lawyer here in town to make sure we didn't violate anybody's property rights. I mean, that was sacred to the court, that we didn't violate anybody's property rights, but we wanted these tore out. So to make sure, then under our ordinance, we give a 30-day. It takes about 90 days when you start, and we're very careful before we tear one down. But then after we tear one down, if we can't locate anybody, we put a lien on the property. Hopefully in the future we can make Habitat for Humanity and link the nonprofit housing agencies to build houses, to make that available for them to build housing, and our Pike County Housing Authority, all these lots that's scattered around the county. But we realized when we published in the paper, and we was right, we thought that individuals would start cleaning up their own property. They have cleaned more up than we've had to clean up ourselves as individuals in the county because they didn't want us to put a lien on the property. So I mean, but it's a great program, and it's worked, and your county government's proud of it.
Well, Judge, that the nuisance ordinance received a national award, as did the next project I want to talk about, which is the landfill methane capture.
Pike County has the only legal licensed landfill in eastern Kentucky. We have one at London, Kentucky, and you have one at the Greenup-Boyd County line on the Ohio River. So we have the only one in eastern Kentucky. Our landfill is at Ford Mountain, and that landfill, we'll never have another landfill after this is done, and we're looking for different ways presently, for example, to change garbage into ethanol, but we're not going to that today. But we will never get another permit because it's a hollow field, and it's on a mine site. The regulations, this was in some 20 years ago, and the regulations have changed now, state regulations, to get the license for landfill, and we would not qualify for a landfill because under the present guidelines. So this will be the lifetime we'll have. But the good thing is we have about 12 years left on it. So we got that period of time that we can come up hopefully with a garbage to ethanol to help solve this transportation fuel problem we have in this country. And we have a Gressy company, a company that's building the Green Island in Abu Dhabi, and they are a company that energy-related projects that they do. And when Wall Street fell, we had this project together, and it fell with Wall Street. But we still we had a video conference call with them last week that lasted over an hour, and they're trying to put the package together on Wall Street again. They didn't ask. This company did not ask for any funding from the local government or from state government or federal government. They was financing everything themselves. But on the landfill methane capture, of course, all landfills in the country, and the Congress passed an act, and I believe it is by 2014, every landfill has to have a way to get this methane to keep from escaping in the atmosphere. Methane is a very poisonous gas. The miners that got killed, the 29 over in the Massey mine in West Virginia, was from methane. Well, we put together a program to flare off this methane, to flare it off and burn it before it gets into the atmosphere. So we came up with the funding, with a grant and other money to package it together, and we have completed now a flare off and a methane plant, which is of course over at Ford Mountain. But to look beyond that, if we're burning that methane, and that's energy, as part of our energy program again, we want to use that energy for good. So we got a second phase to that. We got 2 companies, we got confidential agreements, but I think we're getting far beyond that because the court has authorized me to sign certain documents when they come across my desk to move this project forward. And we want to use that methane to generate electricity and either sell it to the grid or to have a smart switch put on it or meter on it from the power company, and they give us credits, and we use electricity in some of the courthouse here, for example. They would give us credit, and other county buildings are using this methane. Now that's phase 1 of that project, but there's a second phase where the taxpayers of this county and the county government would get income, and that's to sell the carbon credits. We're working with a company to sell the carbon credits under the California system, not the Chicago system. The Chicago system is cheaper. You don't get as much, so we're using the California carbons, the West Coast carbons numbers, and then the county would get income from this project. So phase 1 is complete. We are flaring off the methane today. It's burning over there. It's not going into the atmosphere. And by the way, talking again about the ethanol project, that project puts no carbon CO2 into the atmosphere. 0 carbon goes into the atmosphere. And that is the system. It's a system that's worked in other countries around the world. It's not worked here, so we have. They're going to try to put in I think it to be a pilot plant first, and then move right straight into others as soon as they get the permits, and move right on and do the other project.
Judge, you've often spoken about housing shortages in the county, particularly low and middle income. It's my understanding the Elkhorn City apartments are complete.
little bit of a long story. The apartments was complete when the flood came, and HUD would not let the people that didn't have a place to sleep or live move into those apartments. I tried to get a waiver from HUD because the president had declared a disaster here last year, and I didn't get to do that. But that housing was complete then. And I received a letter the other day from the lady ahead of HUD in Louisville, and she said the reason those wasn't occupied presently because you had the old Elkhorn City Cumberland High School building and the elementary school building, the old gymnasium, next to this facility, and that they need to be tore out, and wanted to know if the county could tear it out. And I wrote her back and said, please, these are the ones you wouldn't give us a waiver in when people didn't have a home on Harris's Creek just down the road. And now you're calling saying want the county to tear them down. We got budget problems here just like you got in the federal government, state government's got. And if you'll give us some money, we'll tear them down. But having said this, housing, we have to do something about middle income housing. Now we know that with Murray's Branch coming, you're going to have that eased a little bit here in this area of the county, but we have to solve the problem. And I go back to remember the housing summit we held after the flood in the Expo Center, when we brought every federal agency, every one of them, HUD, same lady I referred to a while ago was here, and also USDA, United States Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, they was here. Kentucky Housing Corporation was here, the head of it was here. The congressman had his representative, and right on and on. It was and our housing director, Gay Newsom, was on the panel. And at that, we had a coal company come in and made a presentation to partnership in the future with Pike County to bring land, that valuable level land, which we call this mountaintop mining. We don't call it mountaintop mining, we call it mountaintop development, because our hills are so narrow. We got to have level land, and people living away from here do not understand that. But we only get level land here in this county from road building or from the mining industry. So this coal company, which is Tampa Power and Electric, which is TCO, which is locally here, they came and talked to us and they made a presentation. We own property in this section of the county, and they showed us the map. So we've pursued that, and we're pursuing that today. We had a meeting last week to discuss it. Our community development director, who's Charles Carlton, and our energy director, which he is also, he is working, and I think we have a meeting set up in the next few days with the representatives from this company. And hopefully we're going to be able to put a package together to sometime in the near future or the future to make an announcement and say your middle income housing. And I'm talking about the partnership has to work not only between county government and the coal company, it has to also work with the local builders and developers to make property available. Because with the climate in Washington, there's not going to be a lot of money that you can go to Washington and get. But they are money. We're fortunate in this county that they are small business people that have the ability. And I'm like Governor Patton says, anything that we want to do, we got people here to get it done. So we need to pursue that and get this done. And hopefully we're going to be able to do that in the next while.
Judge, just a few feet from where we're sitting right now is the Codell Construction is building the gold certified LEED Pike County Judicial Center.
Well, yes, that is the Pike County project, but I'm chairman of a board which is made up of the city, the judicial people, the people who would use it. Judge Eddie Coleman is vice chair of that, and on that board is Judge Lowe Jr., who represents as a bar association member or citizen member, and you have Judge Mullins, who's on that, and you have attorney in Pikeville, Smith, and Neil Smith, and you have the circuit court clerk, David Deskins. We have been a very active board. We've had the help of Senator Jones, who got us moved down on the list from 17th to 11th on the list about 2 years ago so that we could be funded by the state. The board wanted to construct this building not on Main Street. We didn't want to bother the Main Street of Pikeville. We wanted to build on the landfill back behind the courthouse. But finally, the office of the courts finally told us, you're not going to build there. You've had too many problems with the existing buildings. It's cracked in the middle. So you have to make other plans. So finally it got to the point that we had an offer from a church in town and in their area, and they withdrew it. Finally, the state told us, you're either going to build on Main Street or we'll take the $33 million at that time somewhere else. So the board, reluctantly, we needed a new judicial building. This building here is not adequate. It wasn't built adequately. The courtrooms are too small. Those people in the county who served on juries realize what it is. You have to stand out in the hall. You have to have 32 jurors start a case, and there's not room in Judge Coleman's courtroom for even, they have to rotate out in the hallway. And it's very, and the circuit court clerk's office does not have enough room. So this is going to be a great building. It is a beautiful building. Take a look at it. It's beautiful. It's going to add to downtown. We're well under construction, and this county is one of the most progressive counties in Kentucky, and this is an example. And you can look at the cranes. I know that recently we had 2 cranes down here, and then you go over to the college below the side of the 99 steps, and you'll see 2 cranes over there building a building, $25 million to put the medical school under one roof. Then you look over and you see 2 cranes over to the Pikeville Medical Center, and they're $100 million expansion over there with 1,144 parking places, plus their research building they're building with it. Then you talk about the EQT. Then you talk about the $170 million. The legislature, even though Kentucky was broke, had to come up with the 20% to match the 80% that in 2000 the United States Congress appropriated the money to complete 460. So they had to come up with the money or lose it because it'd go back to Washington. So they appropriated that money. Those contracts are everything I've mentioned, those contracts are out. That's over $500 million of work going on in this county right now, today. And then there are approximately $100 million of others. A bridge that's on the drawing boards or near to let a contract, and that's the Pond Bridge, the relocation bridge at Elkhorn City. And then you got the curve at $7 million at Millard, the curve there next to the Millard Elementary School. And you got the school system, who is pretty close to putting a package together of funding of $50 million to consolidate the rest of the schools in the county to comply with the state mandate of consolidating schools. So we have a lot going on in this county. This is a progressive county. Pikeville is one of the most progressive cities in the Commonwealth.
Judge Charles Carlton, our energy director, helped facilitate the testing of a liquid natural gas powered rock truck at a mine in Harlan County. It's
Well, let me give you a little background of that. We have tried to put this together. We got in touch with Cargill Corporation and asked Cargill we wanted to see that research was done. It make no difference where it was, to try to help solve this transportation problem we have. And we were talking about using our natural gas. And using natural gas, so we wanted a truck with liquefied natural gas. We wanted the data so that we could see. And they put us in touch with 3 different companies who was working together. And this company with natural gas powered generators was in business around the world. They told us the story when they come here in this very room we're in today and held a news conference. The Public, and that is a super chain of food stores that runs from Florida to South Carolina. When they had the hurricane a few years ago, it took the power out all the way up the East Coast. And they had no power, so what they did, they started their generators up. They run on diesel fuel. And 2 days later, they all shut down because they couldn't get diesel fuel to them. So what happened, this company moved in and they put natural gas powered generators in, and in future hurricanes or disasters, they will save the food. So that's an example of what this company did. This company, these three companies who are working together, Charles Carlton brought them here together. Then we started looking for a partner that we could get the Cat 7. That is the truck, and you can see a picture of it here. The truck that they use in off-road mining in here. The large company here, I remember they did a study, TECO did a study, and just on fuel for their truck, this would save $1.7 million per year, just on their trucks. But this rock truck, also they use it on the road construction jobs. If you look at it, you'll see it up Elkhorn City. I counted 17 of them the other day just crisscrossing up there on the 460 road job. So they are researched. So Scott Kincaid, a local, had lived here in Pikeville and a coal operator, he was now in Harlan County, and he had worked and wanted to do something in regard to this, and he said, we'll build you a place where you can collect the data in Harlan County. Charles Carlton knew Mr. Kincaid. He built him a track down there to get the data on this, so that the data on this truck, so that they could move this project forward. And it has been great. Now, we brought into here, and from South America, from Colombia, the fellow who is the head of the largest coal mine in Colombia. They mine as much coal from one pit as we mine in the whole county, approximately 30 million tons a year. And imagine how much that is, because if we were a state, we'd be 10th in coal production. Just imagine how much that one mine. He stayed over here at the Hampton. Charles took him in his vehicle, took him to Harlan County, did this. About 2 weeks after that, the third largest gold mine in the world, which they take everything out of the pit and they run it through, and they only get a 0.001 of gold out of each ton. So you can imagine what this would do to their bottom line using this Cat 7 truck. Then we've expanded that study on to the 900-ton truck, and we've expanded it on to the dozer. So those studies are going on now, and which means that look what it would do to the bottom line of this gold company. That fellow came in, stayed here at the Hampton in Pikeville, and was taken to Harlan County. So there's a lot going on in energy, and in future of these sit down, I want to bring Charles Carlton in. We have some confidential agreements with several companies that we can't mention their names, but we can talk about what we intend to do with coal to liquid. In other words, changing coal into transportation fuel. And we have spent, the federal government and the state government has spent already almost $900,000 in this county getting us ready. We got that funding because we're the only county in America at that time who had an energy strategy by the Southern Energy Board, and Ken Nemeth put together a strategy for us back in 2008. So we are working around energy. Our comprehensive plan has just been completed. We're supposed to get our copy the first of next week, and that's what our guideline will be. That will be our map to the future. We have to put goals with it, and we told the company doing it that we wanted to make this county progress around our natural gas, since we produce the most of any county in Kentucky, and around our coal while we've got it, so that our children, when they're born here, would go to elementary school and high school. They go off to college or university, and then they never come back. And that's a brain drain for us. And they don't get to live in these beautiful mountains here that we have. They won't have that because they won't have good jobs to come back to. So The future is as bright as we work together to make it. I, as an individual, can't do anything. We have to partnership. Everybody has to work together, and everybody has to try to move this county forward. And that's what government is. That's what government's about. I won't be here for a few more years, but while I'm here, I'm going to do what I can to make this county a progressive county. And I'm very fortunate to have a fiscal court they was all reelected this last time. So we must have been doing something right. And we are known as a progressive body, and we need to continue that.